no, why aren't my lights on? I gotta turn those on. Squirrel. So I think about, well, is it a useful, oh no, I think one of them's burnt out. Oh well, we'll take care of that later. Is it a useful behavior to instill in people? And I think maybe there's something evolutionarily or something biological, I don't know, maybe evolutionary, like tribal, where maybe the people who were a little bit too big for their britches, that's another phrase, were extricated from the group because maybe they were less helpful, less generous, less likely to want to serve their fellow tribespeople to help further the tribe for survival. So maybe it comes down to some survival thing. I'm just now like piecing this together. It's probably already been written about, I don't know, where that trait is not desirable because it led to a lack of survival. Like if you're extricated or like kicked out of a group and you're on your own, way back in the day, you're less likely to survive. So I think about a lot of our behaviors come down to like really deeply ingrained survival characteristics and traits and behaviors. And so maybe that's why it's such a deeply ingrained shame to like, well, why can't I be proud of myself? Why can't I, you know, brag on myself a little bit, be proud of what I've done or how I'm like, just be proud of just my true nature, no matter what it is, like not even trying to fit in, but try just like to be my unique self. So that's a lot of times what I see in myself and other people is we get sort of like feel like we're put in a box, like don't try to reach too far, don't try to reach too high, don't. And I think maybe it's nothing to be shamed, it's just something that we can recognize as like this day and age, maybe that's actually led to more dysfunction than survival adaptability because it keeps us small, it keeps us thinking like, it keeps us from stepping into and feeling our own sense of strength and power and our sense of agency. And taken to the extreme, it just keeps us feeling very constricted when our self-worth takes a hit from outside influences from a very early age. So that's what this made me think of. Now I've even forgotten the title. Let me not think of myself as limited. And so I think that's the title. That's what it made me think of, is like, well, we're limitless. The only thing that keeps us small is ourselves. And the fact that maybe we haven't shed all the stuff that was put onto us from our caretakers when we were little, because they were just trying to keep us safe. Like, don't step outside this well-defined boundary of behaviors and who you can take yourself to be and your sense of self-worth, because it's not safe. And I think as parents, we probably don't even notice we're doing it. We just want our kids to fit in and be liked and sociable and not extricate or ostracized or kicked out of a clique or friend group, because it doesn't feel good. Even though we can survive these days, it just doesn't feel good, and we're meant to connect. So it's like it leads to a lack of connection, which is harmful in other ways. So, but it's taken to the extreme. We keep ourselves feeling very small because we haven't shed the training, that was put into us. So what would happen if we shed all of that and realize it's not useful anymore in this society? Or maybe it's useful a little bit, like we still want to come into connection with people, and take into the other extreme, like would be maybe a narcissistic tendency, then you really are off on your own little island and not really caring about others and wanting to connect and serve your community to help it thrive. And so I think there's some aspect of it that's still useful, but But what if we could heal that in a healthy way and open up to our sense of strength at an earlier age and our sense of agency, and I can reach higher. I can do both, and like I can still want to connect and serve my community, but also self-actualize. And I don't like the word achieve, but like reach beyond my limited sense of self, which can open up all kinds of possibilities for where I can go in life and still serve the people around me. Meaning make sure like it's not just me for me's sake trying to get somewhere or accumulate or do whatever, all those dysfunctional things, but it's really like, how can I be the best version of myself so that I can help those around me as well? So I'm having a hot flash. So that's what this one made me think of, and it's just a very practical sense. And that I think my takeaway from it was like, it's okay to not, I guess, like think poorly of our parents, our family, our society that tries to keep us in a box, like keep us well defined, maybe even down to like expecting us to behave certain ways because they have this really rigid idea of who we are because they've known us so long. And it's like we shouldn't do that to each other, but we also shouldn't like, what do you want to like blame other people for doing that to us, because in a basic, I think evolutionarily, like developmental sense, it was because they did care about us and want us to be safe and included and connected. So I think it extends for me a bit of like understanding and grace, if that, definitely happened to me in my childhood. Even down to like, have you ever heard that phrase? Somebody brought it up the other day. Who did that? It was like, children should be seen and not heard. Oh my God. Well, if you're Gen X or older, you've probably heard that. And I think that's also like a form of, it's dysfunctional. It keeps the kids kind of like, oh, that's not good. But maybe that was a form of safety too, even though the parents didn't realize that they were just being whatever. But maybe that's where it comes from too. Like, if you're quiet, if you're unseen, you're safe. You're no threat, or you're not perceived by the threats out there. So anyway, that's just what it made me think of. Let me not see myself as limited. So that's something I want to work on more, is like anytime, like whenever I think about, or some thought pops in that says, oh, I can't do that, or oh, I wouldn't be good at that if I tried it. The ways we shut ourselves down before we even make an attempt, I want to recognize those faster so that I can be like, wait, is that even true? It's not even true. It's just conditioning. So that's kind of where my takeaway also from this was, like recognizing those little nuggets of thought, like those remnants, those whispers from like 40 years ago that are still like whoosh, rolling around in there, sometimes keeping me feeling a little limited, keeping myself limited. So anyway, thanks. Bye.